Today's Dallas Cowboys Report is presented by Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and you use promo code COWBOYS at checkout. 20% off and free shipping as the reminder. Rumors round up today beginning with CeeDee Lamb. Is he an upgrade over Amari Cooper? I'll be optimistic. I'll be positive. I'll give this one 3 stars. I do think there is a good chance, especially from a pure statistical standpoint, that Lamb ends up being the upgrade that the Cowboys and Jerry Jones are hyping up at the moment. Jones said that he thinks Lamb's going to be an upgrade over Amari Cooper, his wide receiver one. That's get picked up, and the push, the campaign is around CeeDee Lamb being better than Amari Cooper. That's the expectation. That's why we moved on from Amari, because it's Lamb's time to be the number one guy. Also worth at least somewhat mentioning is this fact. Dak Prescott had CeeDee Lamb's locker moved next to his to help continue and grow that chemistry. Here's what Dak had to say. I decided to know he's the guy. Just me knowing that hopefully he's my receiver until I'm done playing. Just bring him closer. More conversation since he's right there, accessible to talk, just to communicate. Now, we're going to be here at the Cowboys Report until the day I die. You get daily videos on the Cowboys Report as well. We are 32 subs away. That is it. From 129,000. I want to get there by the end of day today, or Jack told me, or else. Jack's a bully. He might punch me in the face. Nobody knows. Hit that big red button and subscribe right now. Back to the CeeDee Lamb conversation here more in depth. He has been, for his first 2 years, very good and very promising. Compared to, say, a Justin Jefferson, no. He has not been the best receiver from that draft class. But compared to others, Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Reagor, Lamb has not been bad. And his production over the past 2 years has been better than Amari Cooper's production in that same time frame, minus the touchdowns. The touchdowns are the big gap there. Cooper's yards plummeted because he basically missed 3 games with a variety of COVID stuff and a bit nicked up as well. The foot's a red flag. So from a pure statistical standpoint, I do think there is a very good chance Lamb emerges as the number one guy from that viewpoint, that particular point of view. Although I would also make mention of this. Well, there's going to be more of a challenge this year for Lamb without Amari Cooper and likely no Gallup to begin the season. So we're going to go more in depth on my issues with the framing of this conversation, why it's 3 stars instead of 4. But first, our pinned poll of the day. Will CeeDee Lamb be a true wide receiver one in 2022? You get the ad break here on YouTube, take advantage of it and head down there. Type in Y for yes or N for no. The question is at the pinned comment. My issue is this. Lamb versus Cooper is technically a framing you can go. It's also not the right framing that I would approach from an overall team perspective. You have Lamb regardless in this situation. The framing should be Amari Cooper, maybe Cedric Wilson too, versus the other giant question marks you have right now at the wide receiver room. Where long-term, in theory, you're okay because Jalen Tolbert breaks out, is a success. I like him a lot. I'm optimistic about Tolbert. Michael Gallup gets back healthy. But for week 1, we are looking at this possibility. Lamb is receiver 1. James Washington, who is playing for next to nothing because nobody wanted him in free agency and hasn't been that great over his NFL career. You're banking on him suddenly becoming really good. Jalen Tolbert, as a third-round rookie, is an unknown. Those guys are not always hits. So there is a lot of uncertainty and unknown and unprovenness with Simi Fehoko and Noah Brown, who is really more of a backup guy, and a bunch of former UDFAs. So that receiver room, there's a reason why so many of you ask, well, could they sign this guy? Because there is uncertainty in that area. So with that in mind, was Dallas right to move on from Amari? Don't factor in the value they got back in the trade. We've had that conversation. We all pretty much agree. Was Dallas right to move on from Amari? Type in R for they were right, or type in W for they were wrong. Now, if you want to be right off the field, hope you know what I mean by that, use Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use promo code Cowboys. I'll put that link in the comments section and in the description. The Lawnmower 4.0 remains the unparalleled best men's grooming tool on the market. Use it. It'll let you guys in on a secret. Nobody likes it. You or your girl, if you're being honest with yourself, likes it when there's just a bunch of unkempt hair down there. It's gross. It's not. Doesn't look good, don't feel good, and it makes things look a little bit smaller because it's like when you trim down a tree, right? So go get 20% off and free shipping on the Lawnmower 4.0 and any and all of the men's grooming products at Manscaped by using promo code Cowboys checkout at manscaped.com. Let's talk Isaiah Wynn now. Could he be a trade target for the Cowboys? I don't like this idea. I don't think it makes sense. Although it is probably technically true, I'm not going to give it much credibility there, so it's fake news for me. He's been pitched as a trade target by a couple different sites, Sports Illustrated, Sportsnet, whatever that is as well. Background is he's skipping OTAs with the Patriots. So player skips OTAs 99 times out of 100 when they are due for a new deal, it's because they want the new deal. The idea here is you don't wait for Tyler Smith to get healthy, or to get developed, and you don't have to worry about Tyron being healthy. You just add an impact offensive lineman and figure out the rotation later on. 3 teams were linked to win, were listed as candidates to go get Win. Seattle, Las Vegas, Dallas. Seattle doesn't make much sense. They drafted 2 tackles. Raiders actually do make a lot of sense. Dallas, yeah, I'm not so sure on that front, and in large part because of this. You have invested fairly heavily in your offensive line in recent years, and you moved on from La'el Collins. So to suddenly go around and try to trade for Isaiah Wynn doesn't really make much sense. The proposed trade, by the way, was Jordan Lewis and a mid-round pick, who makes no sense for New England, Lewis, because they have 18 nickel corners, right, Jack? Yeah, they got enough of those, so doesn't make much sense to me, but I want to hear from you guys first here. Would you trade for Isaiah Wynn? T for trade, you'd go get him, figure out the money and the fit and all that stuff later, or type in P for you would pass. I myself would pass. I don't really think it makes a lot of sense for either side. The Patriots have nobody to replace Isaiah Wynn at left tackle unless you believe in a bunch of mid to late day 3 picks, which you shouldn't do. Isaiah Wynn is a good football player. Don't get me wrong on that front. 6 sacks allowed, but only 17 hurries with 5 hits. Overall, good pass protector, very good run blocker. He is a starting caliber left tackle. And in the modern day NFL, as bad as the offensive line play is, a guy that you can start and go, he's good, even if he's not elite, those guys are immensely expensive. Those guys are not cheap. They cost big time money. That is the reality of the situation. So I do not anticipate Isaiah Wynn, whenever he gets a new deal, most likely from New England, not from a team like Dallas, he's not going to be a top 5 highest paid offensive lineman. I don't think he's going to command $19 million per year. But he ain't going to come in that far behind. Because look at this second list of the highest paid offensive tackles. Jake Matthews, aging left tackle, part of a restructure. Cam Robinson is not very good, and he's making $18 million. By the way, the Tyron Smith deal is a steal still. Even if he misses 6 games a year, it's still worth it because every tackle is so damn expensive. So would the Cowboys, who want to have Terrence Steele as their right tackle, who drafted Tyler Smith to be their left guard now, left tackle of the future, would they trade for Isaiah Wynn, give up assets, and then say, you know what else, we're going to pay you, let's just say it's $16 million a year, almost doubling La'el Collins' contract. We'll say it's a 75% growth over Collins' contract. Not quite how the math works, but close enough. I don't think so. If you're going to trade for a lineman, I would say center makes just a little bit more sense. All right, back to receivers here. Oh, all offense today. Not what I didn't realize that until just now. Even though I make the shows. Go figure. Simi Fehoko, is he going to start? And it's 1 star. This is technically correct. The best kind of correct, but also not that accurate. Fehoko did get some reps with the ones early at OTAs. Now, that is true. That has been reported by others, myself, anyone around the Cowboys. Pro Football Talk got the headline, Fehoko working with the starters. Deceptive headline because he started out of necessity because James Washington, Jalen Tolbert, all banged up. We're not out there for that open part of OTAs. With Michael Gallup also banged up, that leaves CeeDee Lamb, Fehoko, Noah Brown, TJ Vasher, and UDFAs this year and last year. And even Vasher's a UDFA. So, yeah, you had nobody at receiver. So, yeah, the 5th-round pick from last year who made no impact, of course he got the starting work. I think if Fehoko's starting for you in week 1, one of two things happen. Something really good with him or something not so good with other players. Hopefully the former and not the latter. So when it comes to potential breakouts this year, somebody has to emerge at the wide receiver spot. Who do you guys think it is? Is it Fehoko? Is it, you can throw in Jalen Tolbert, James Washington, everyone's favorite UDFA, TJ Vasher? Let me know in the comments right now. I'm hoping it's Fehoko. He's got the good size, adding some bulk to play above 225, which he was like 222 at his pro day, so not that much added size there. Good frame, bigger body, not quite as tall as TJ Vasher, a little bit bigger than Noah Brown, I think, at this point. But he is fighting for a roster spot. Fehoko last year made zero impact on this team. He was a draft and stash redshirt year, which is fine. You had depth at receiver last year. Now you're hoping a guy that and I know many of you really liked coming out of Stanford, takes that next step forward. Is the talent there? I do believe so. We have to see it, however. We haven't seen the NFL type of production. The back end of his Stanford career, really impressive. Only 1,146 yards in his college career, 0 in the NFL. So I am hopeful about Fehoko, but he is not guaranteed anything right now on this Cowboys team.